Okay, so now we will learn all about the drugs used for the management of hypo and hyperthyroid conditions. So I will start first with the basic pharmacology and then proceed to clinical applications later on. So we will first review how thyroid hormone is synthesized because this will have bearing on the action of many of our agents. No? So the thyroid gland produces two forms of thyroid hormone. That's triiodothyronine or T3. This is the more potent thyroid hormone. And then we have thyroxine or T4. No? And these hormones are used for normal growth and development, maintenance of body temperature and energy levels sufficient to support many of the cellular processes. Now, these hormones will contain a significant amount of iodine, and the iodine is derived from exogenous sources, no? From the food we eat, water, drugs, and uh, or supplements. No? So they are rapidly absorbed from the intestine and they are collected into an extracellular fluid pool. And from this pool, the thyroid extracts about 75 micrograms of iodine uh, for use in the synthesis of thyroid hormones. No? So it is said that the adult daily requirement for iodine is about 150 micrograms, but this is increased in conditions of pregnancy and lactation and during childhood, no, where there is significant growth and development. Okay, so um, once taken up by the thyroid gland, no, then the iodide undergoes several transformations, no, before it is, as it gets incorporated into the synthesis of the thyroid hormones. No? So first of all, iodide is transported into the thyroid gland by an intrinsic follicle cell basement membrane protein, which we call the sodium iodide transporter. No? So this is the one that transports iodide into the thyroid gland. Now, this symporter is inhibited by high levels of iodides and by certain anions like thiocyanate or pernicitinate or perchloride, which we'll also take up in a while. No? Now, the iodide molecule is then brought into the apical cell membrane where there is a second transport enzyme, which we call pendrin. No? Pendrin will now control the flow of iodide across the membrane. Now, pendrin is also produced in the inner ear, the cochlea, the inner ear. And there's a particular genetic mutation where individuals are born with defective or absent pendrin. No? So these are individuals with goiter and deafness. No? Now, from the apical cell membrane, iodide is oxidized into iodine by the thyroidal peroxidase or TPO enzyme. No? And when it's converted to iodine, it is incorporated into tyrosine residues within the thyroglobulin molecule. No? And it forms monoiodotyrosine and diiodotyrosine, MIT and DIT respectively. And this process is what we call iodide organification. Now, this enzyme, thyroidal peroxidase, is inhibited by high levels of interthyroid iodide, and this is also inhibited by thioamides. Thioamides is a main class of agents used for hyperthyroidism. Now, two molecules of DIT will make up levothyroxine, while one molecule of MIT and one molecule of DIT will form your triiodothyronine or T3. Okay. Now, thyroxine, T4, T3, MIT, and DIT are released from the thyroglobulin molecule through a process of exocytosis, and there is now proteolysis at the apical colloid border, the border of the apical membrane. Now here, while still within the gland, MIT and DIT are deiodinated, no? So they lose iodine, and this iodine is then recycled or reutilized to produce new hormones, no? Now this process is blocked again by high levels of intrathyroid iodides. Now, the thyroid gland produces more T4 than T3 in a ratio of 5:1. So majority of your T3 molecules are actually from peripheral conversion of T4 to T3. And only about 20% is directly synthesized by the thyroid gland. No? So, there are three deiodinases that play a role in the conversion of T4 to T3. No? These are D1, D2, and D3. So D1 and D2 are deiodinases that convert your T4 to active T3. And then D1 and D3 converts D4 to inactive version of T3, which we call reverse T3. So reverse T3 is biologically inactive. Now, there are conditions or drugs that may affect the activity of these deiodinase enzymes, no? And lead to a state of relative hypothyroidism, no? Or a decrease in thyroid function. For example, amiodarone, no? Which is an antiarrhythmic drug, iodinated contrast media, which is given before radiologic imaging, beta blockers, and corticosteroids, no? And then conditions like severe starvation or illness, no, will inhibit some of these deiodinase enzymes, no. So in such situations, there is reduction of conversion of T4 to the more potent T3, and a facilitation of conversion of T4 to the inactive reverse T3, no. So this can lead to a decrease in thyroid function when these conditions are, or drugs or substances are present. Okay, now this is a nice picture because it tells you the process of, this is a summary of the process of thyroid hormone production and where some of your anti-thyroid drugs may work. No? So the mechanism of some of these anti-thyroid drugs. Okay, so we will go with the specific drugs in the later part of the lecture. Now, the naturally occurring thyroid hormones are levoisomers. No? We have synthetic isomers, which are dextro isomers, but the dextro isomers are typically of less biologic activity, so they are less potent and less able to suppress TSH and control hypothyroidism. No? Okay, now T4 is absorbed. It's best absorbed in the duodenum and the ileum. There are many substances that can affect its absorption, like gastric acid, the presence of other drugs, and food and intestinal flora. So overall, its absorption is much less than T3. T3 is almost completely absorbed at 95%. No? Sa T4, mga 70% lang yan. Now, in cases where you have severe hypothyroidism, this is what we call mixed edema. And so it's an urgent condition which you really need to replace with the thyroid hormones. We usually we give the supplements through IV, no? Because if given orally, absorption is very, very slow since the digestive functions is slowed by the state of hypothyroidism. So, usually may ileus yan, no? Kasi mabagal lahat. So, pati peristalsis at function ng intestine mabagal. So, ang rate of absorption ng gamot natin is compromised. That's why we have to give this by IV. Okay, now in cases of hyperthyroidism, the metabolic clearance of the thyroid hormones is increased, and so you have a decrease in the half-life, no? So you see the opposite happen in states of hypothyroidism, no? There are certain hepatic microsomal enzyme inducers, or drugs that induce this hepatic microsomal CP450 enzymes that will increase the rate of metabolism and clearance of thyroid hormones. No? So these are drugs like rifampicin, some of your anti-epileptic drugs like phenobarbital, no, carbamazepine, some tyrosine kinases, and some of your protease inhibitors which you use for the treatment of viral infections or HIV, no, and HIV. Now, if the patient has normal function, despite the effect of hastened clearance by these agents, a normal euthyroid individual will still have free hormonal levels of the thyroid hormone. And this is because of compensation or compensatory response of the normally functioning thyroid gland. So there is an increase in the synthesis of thyroid hormone to offset their increased clearance. No? And this will happen because the thyroid gland is normal. No? So it becomes a problem when you have a hypothyroid individual, no, who needs replacement already with the thyroid hormone, tapos umiinom pa siya ng any of these agents. No? So in such cases, you might need to increase your dose of thyroid hormone replacement to offset the effect of increased clearance brought about by these other drugs. No? Now, in certain situations also, the normal thyroid function will compensate. Like for example, in pregnancy, there's an increase in thyroid binding globulin. So there is an increase in the bound form of thyroid hormones compared to the free form. No? But again, the normal small amount of free hormone is maintained because of normal compensatory response of a normal thyroid. No? But if the pregnant woman has a hypofunctioning thyroid, then this becomes a problem. No? Okay. Now, this is a comparison between the kinetic properties of T4 and T3. So as you can see, I mentioned that the oral absorption is much lower for T4, no? And it is less potent. No? It has a longer half-life though, permitting once a day to once a week dosing. No? Your thyroid T3 will have a shorter half-life, no? And but it's a more potent agent, and you have more complete absorption at 95%. Okay. Now, these are some of this is a table that summarizes the effect of various drugs on thyroid function and vice versa. No? So it's good to review some of these, like for example, interactions with the substances that interfere with the absorption of thyroid hormone from the gut, no? Like your bisphosphonates, proton pump inhibitors, some of your anti-ulcer drugs, no? Some antibiotics, etc. No? And then what would be the effect of thyroid function on drugs. Like, for example, in hyperthyroidism, who need anticoagulant, and if the drug is warfarin, lower doses have to be given. No? Whereas in hypothyroidism, you need to have higher doses. No? And then for glucose, no, there is increased hepatic glucose production and glucose intolerance in hyperthyroid individuals. No? And so on the other hand, in hypothyroid individuals, insulin action is impaired, and therefore this may aggravate pre-existing or comorbidity of diabetes. Huh? Okay. Now, thyroid hormones, as we know, are very important for the optimum growth and development of the individual. So it's also essential for the maintenance of a lot of cellular processes that is important in life. No? This is a condition wherein you have deprivation or a lack of thyroid hormone in early life. No? So you end up with what we call congenital cretinism. You have a child who is who has features of dwarfism and who is intellectually challenged. No? So makikita nyo sa picture, medyo malaki yung mouth. No? And this is because your congenital cretinism is also associated with a large tongue. Malalaki yung dila nila. No? So this is avoided, this has been avoided or prevented by what we call the neonatal screening or newborn screening. So ngayon sa mga hospitals all over the country and globally, upon birth, a small amount of serum is obtained from the baby and subjected into laboratory studies to detect the presence of metabolic disorders such as hypothyroidism. So pag na-detect na mababa ang thyroid hormone levels at mataas ang TSH ng mga newborns na ito, then nagsusupplement agad, no? Early in life. So there is enough thyroid hormone to support normal growth and development. So normal yung baby. Lalaking normal yung baby at maiiwasan itong congenital cretinism. Okay? So as you can see, thyroid hormones are also essential in the metabolism of many of the substances, drugs, fats, carbohydrates, and thyroid hormones do so by affecting the activity of other hormones involved in the metabolic processes of these substances. No? Essentially, the secretion and degradation rates of all the other hormones in the body are regulated or are dependent on the activity of thyroid hormones. So para yung kotse na dependent sa gasolina. No? So when wala kang gasolina, so walang mag-work. The engine literally is brought to a stop. No? So that's essentially the analogy of the role of thyroid hormones in all the cellular processes that is occurring in our body. Okay. Now, what happens naman if you have elevation of thyroid hormone? No, pag elevated naman, you have a condition that simulates sympathetic overactivity. No? So you have all the manifestations of hyperactivity like cardiac activation, mabilis ang heart rate mo, mabilis yung metabolism ng body, no? You lose weight, all the symptoms of hyperthyroidism. But the condition of thyroid hyperactivity is not associated with elevation of catecholamines that you see in sympathetic overactivity. So thyroid hyperactivity resembles sympathetic overactivity because it influences the activity of adenyl cyclase and therefore the production of cyclic AMP, which is the second messenger in adrenergic signaling. So by this way, it also increases the number of beta receptors, and by their action on cyclic AMP, you have an enhancement of the amplification of signals along the beta receptors. Kaya one of the prominent symptoms of effects of thyroid hormones is cardiac activation. So overdose of thyroid hormones will often lead to cardiovascular events. Okay, so we go to the 4 different thyroid preparations. No? There are 3 which are synthetic, and these are the ones that are used. No? The desiccated thyroid, it's still available, but because of its unfavorable profile, its use is not as common. No? This is the first preparation that was brought out into the market, but nowadays, we have safer formulations, especially levothyroxine. It is still available in certain countries because of its affordability, no? But it is not as commonly used or rarely used today compared to before. No? Now, in using thyroid hormone replacement, please remember that this is only done when there is a lack of thyroid hormone. So when you are hypothyroid, especially when it is symptomatic, no, you do not do this if the thyroid hormone levels are normal. So thyroid hormones are not used in the treatment of obesity. No, it's not used in the treatment of abnormal uterine bleeding and depression. If the thyroid levels of the patient is normal, because the giving of thyroid hormones as a supplement, no, in euthyroid individuals may eventually cause the suppression of the hypothalamic pituitary thyroid axis, and this can suppress thyroid function eventually, no? So kaya ako nabanggit to kasi dati may mga available na diet pills na halo-halo yung component, and one of the components is animal thyroid hormone, no? Kaya tumataas yung basal metabolic rate, no, na mabilis mawalan ng timbang yung gumagamit. But this is quite dangerous because it can suppress the function of a normally functioning thyroid. No? So this is only used again in when thyroid gland is hypofunctioning. Now, levothyroxine is the drug of choice for replacement in most cases of hypothyroidism. No? It's a stable preparation. It has uniform content. No? Hindi kagaya ng, let's say, desiccated animal thyroid na paiba-iba yung content, no, ng T4. No? Ito generally uniform ang content. And it's affordable because it's synthetic, it's not allergenic, no? And it's easy to measure the laboratory levels. In contrast with the desiccated thyroid gland preparations or preparations containing T3. Kasi yung mga may T3, mahirap ma-detect yung lab, mahirap i-measure through laboratory tests yung level ng mga gamot na yun. But when we talk about T4, this is very easily measured in the laboratory. Because it has a long half-life, no, of 7 days, it can be given from once a day to once a week dosaging. Now, you don't really need to give, in ordinary circumstances, you don't really need to give supplements with T3 because, as we know, T4 naman is converted peripherally to T3. So, one of the important patient education is for the patients to be consistent in the preparation that they use. No? So consistency in the preparation and the brand, no, of the thyroid hormone replacement that they're using, and this is to avoid fluctuations in serum levels or serum or bioavailability. Okay, so these are the preparations containing, the synthetic preparations containing both T3 and T4, no? So Lyotrix is more expensive, but it's not as effective as levothyroxine because anyway, levothyroxine T4 is peripherally converted to T3 anyway, no? So you don't really need it. Liothyronine is pure T3. No? So T3 is very potent, and so we're very careful about its cardiac effects. No? That's why this is contraindicated in patients with cardiovascular disorders or cardiovascular morbidities. No? And maybe also in the elderly, they are more prone to be less tolerant of the effects of liothyronine, especially sa heart. No? Now, so this is not used routinely, but only as a short-term drug for TSH suppression in severe cases like myxedema. Huh? Now, liothyronine has a short half-life of about 24 hours, so it has multiple daily dosing in a day. No? Okay. Now ito, as I mentioned, hindi na masyadong ginagamit for the reasons cited on the right, no, of the screen. And so the synthetic versions have largely taken over desiccated thyroid. No? So thyroid, the hormone preparations are usually stored in colored bottles like in the picture. And this is because exposure to sunlight will cause spontaneous deiodination na natatanggalan sila ng iodide sa molecules, and this will decrease their efficacy. No? So ang proper storage will be in dark bottles, and the shelf life is only about 2 years. No? Okay, then we go to the treatment of the other side of the coin. No? Paano naman kung hyperthyroid ka? So you have on the slide the list of the various antithyroid agents. No? So these are agents that can interfere with thyroid hormone production or modify the response of tissues to thyroid hormone. We can do interventions leading to glandular destruction, so radiation or surgery, removal of the thyroid. And then there are goitrogens that can suppress thyroid hormone secretion to subnormal levels. No? So this will increase TSH and may eventually cause goiter later on. And so for what we use in the clinics for the treatment of hyperthyroidism will be the thioamides, the iodides, and radioactive iodine. No? So these are the main pharmacologic interventions for the treatment of hyperthyroid conditions. No? So thioamides, we have your methimazole, no? Methimazole and propylthiouracil, so PTU for short. No? In the United Kingdom, there's a drug called carbamazole, and this is converted in vivo to methimazole. No? So sa UK, available your carbamazole. Okay, now, methimazole is the drug of choice for most cases of hyperthyroidism. No? It's more potent than PTU. Now, PTU has been associated with severe hepatitis. So, no? But PTU is more bound to albumin in the blood. No? So this has more protein binding. And so when it's bound to protein, no, it does not readily enter the placenta, the fetoplacental circulation. No? That's why for pregnant women, in the first trimester of pregnancy, and they need antithyroid medication. If they need antithyroid medication, we give PTU. But after the period of organogenesis, which is the first trimester, then we usually switch to methimazole. No? And also because there are rare instances that methimazole has been associated with teratogenicity when given in the first trimester. No? It is also used for thyroid storm. PT is also used for thyroid storm, especially if and in individuals who have adverse drug reactions to PTU, no? Except for agranulocytosis or for hepatitis, because there is a 50% cross-reactivity, no? Which we'll go into in a while. Now, the molecules, the molecular structure on the right of the screen will show you the active portion. So the active portion is the thiocarbamide molecule. No? This is the thiocarbamide moiety of these agents, and this is where the anti-thyroid effect resides in. No? Okay. Now, okay. Now, in terms of kinetics, generally, the thioamides have a short half-life. No? Methimazole is completely absorbed, but at variable rates. PTU is rapidly absorbed. No? So the absorption is better with PTU. Now, both of these will be readily picked up by the thyroid gland. So generally, their serum half-life is essentially short. No? Methimazole has a slower excretion rate than PTU. No? PTU mabilis ang ma-clear. No? It's rapidly conjugated in the liver. So phase 2 metabolism, and you will see this conjugates within 24 hours. No? Sa methimazole, it takes about 48 hours before you see metabolites in the urine. Okay. Now, the fact that they have short half-lives do not necessarily impact on their duration of effects or duration of action, because their main site of action is in the thyroid gland. No? So hindi indication yung short half-life nila na maiksi lang yung duration of action. Hindi ganon, no? Kaya sila maiksi yung half-life kasi the thyroid gland rapidly uptakes them, no? From the blood. Ine-extract agad sila from the blood by the thyroid gland. And so, the thyroid gland is their site of action. No? So PTU is usually given every 6 to 8 hours. Methimazole is given as a single dose every day. No? Okay. Now, although a small amount of thioamides are present in breast milk, these agents are considered safe for lactating or nursing mothers. Okay? So, ano yung mechanism of action ng thioamides? As I mentioned kanina, they can inhibit the peroxidase catalyzed reactions, and so they inhibit thyroid hormone synthesis. They can also block iodine organification and coupling or incorporation of iodine into your combination of your iodothyrosines to produce your T3 or T4. Huh? Now, additionally, your propylthiouracil will also inhibit the conversion of T4 to T3 because it can inhibit peripheral deiodination. Huh? Now, because your thioamides essentially just inhibit synthesis, they do not affect the rate of thyroid gland uptake of iodine. They also do not affect the release from thyroglobulin molecules. So essentially, the effects, the anti-thyroid effects is seen only after several weeks. No? Mabagal yung effect because habang may natitira pang stores ng hormone prior to its initiation. So matagal prior to the start of therapy. So matagal yung effect, no? And this is something that you have to advise to your patients not to get upset if they do not observe an immediate relief of their symptoms right away, no? Okay. Now, these are some of the toxicities of thioamides. What you see in the screen is part of some reactions which can be seen in about 12% or less of patients. No? So it's a pruritic maculopapular rash, 4 to 5% lang pala to. No? In 12% or less, you can also have GI upset. No? And for methimazole, they often complain of altered taste and smell, and this can affect this can lower their appetite temporarily, no? So, ang toxicities na ito in your screen are rare, but some of them can be potentially fatal, no? Such as granulocytosis, no? So for PTU also, na-implicate din to sa severe hepatitis, no? Now, for individuals who develop this, there is, it's rare, but as I said, it can be potentially fatal. No? So granulocytosis is the most dangerous complication from the intake of thioamides. No? And the risk may be greater in the elderly, and usually with it's said in the book, no, within the first 3 months of treatment, when you use doses of methimazole in excess of 40 milligrams per day. No? Now, the granulocytosis will be reversed immediately after discontinuation of the drug. No? Now, sometimes they give your granulocyte colony stimulating factor to hasten the recovery, and they can also, patients will also receive broad spectrum antibiotics to this may be needed if there are infections that occur, no, because of increased risk for certain infections. Now, it doesn't make sense to shift from one thioamide to the other. No? So, halimbawa, kung nag-develop sa PTU, hindi rin magandang practice is switch sa methimazole kasi there's 50% cross-reactivity or cross-sensitivity. So, the patient will also have 50% chance of having the same reaction when you switch to the methimazole. No? Okay. Now, what about anion inhibitors? No? Anion inhibitors are exemplified by perchlorate, pertechnetate, and thiocyanate. No? So ito yung mga activities niya. It blocks the thyroid gland uptake of iodide. No? Kasi they compete with the symporter, the sodium iodide symporter, no? So there's competitive inhibition. But ang effectiveness nila unpredictable, no? So hindi consistent yung benefits na nakikita dito. But they have been used for those suffering from hypothyroid adverse effects from the use of amiodarone. No? Now, they have been associated with the development of aplastic anemia, and that's why they're not commonly used these days. No? Pag sinabi mong surmountable, dito, competitive inhibition kasi. No? So, nakikipag-compete siya dun sa symporter. So, increasing the iodide may block the effect of anion inhibitors kasi increasing iodide concentrations will favor competitive inhibition will favor the competition for the receptor site to iodides. No? So, yun yung tinatawag na surmountable. Pag dinamihan mo yung iodide, then you have more chance for iodide to attach to the binding site of the symporter. So, mawawalan ng pwesto yung anion inhibitors and they can lose their effectiveness. No? Nonetheless, hindi na masyadong ginagamit itong mga ito kasi nga na-associate sila for depression of bone marrow function. So, when we talk about iodides, these are basically used now as combination therapy. Hindi na siya ginagamit for sole therapy because their effect will actually be lost in a few weeks. No? So, hindi din matagal yung therapeutic benefits niya. No? So, before we go into that, these are the mechanisms of their anti-thyroid effect. No? They inhibit organification and hormone release by inhibiting your proteolytic process in the thyroglobulin molecule. No? So they decrease the size and vascularity of the thyroid gland. So this is very good when a patient is being prepared for thyroid surgery. No? And ang downside, they can induce what we call yung yung Judd-Basedow reaction or hyperthyroidism in certain situations. So ano ba yung ano ba tong Judd-Basedow reaction na to, no? So ito usually nangyayari sa mga taong may endemic goiter because of iodine deficiency, no? Tapos nalipat sila sa isang lugar na mas rich sa iodine yung kinakain nila, no? So pagka ganon, tapos hindi nila hininto yung iodine supplements nila, baka mag-induce tayo ng hyperthyroidism, no? O kaya yung mga taong may thyroid adenoma or thyroid cancer, no? Pagka naka-receive ng iodide, no? Yung hyperfunctioning thyroid because of the neoplasia will not have the ability to respond to the negative feedback of high iodide levels. So tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung reaction nila. Kaya nagkakaroon ng hyperthyroidism. No? Now, iodides may eventually produce hypothyroidism because high levels, as we mentioned, high levels of iodide will inhibit several of the steps in thyroid hormone synthesis. No? So ang basically use nila ngayon is for the control of thyroid storm kasi mabilis yung activity nila in terms of inhibiting thyroid hormone synthesis and release, no? Kaya ginagamit sila as part of the treatment for thyroid storm and also in preparation for thyroid surgery. Okay? Now, ang isang problem then with the use of iodides is that they can delay the onset of thioamide therapy and also prevent the use of RAI. No? Kasi nag-i-increase ang intraglandular stores ng iodine mo which render this treatment interventions less effective. No? Kaya pagka ang plano sa therapy ng hyperthyroid is to undergo radioactive iodine, hindi na yan dapat bibigyan ng iodide. No? Okay. Now, if thioamide is being planned for treatment, then iodides are administered after and not before the onset of thioamide therapy. No? Because adding them before will increase the intraglandular iodine source, no? So, as monotherapy, hindi din sila ginagamit because yung ability to block the processes in thyroid hormone synthesis will be effective only in 2 to 8 weeks. After that, nawawala na yung suppressive effect ng iodide and the gland is said to be able to escape that block, no? And also, withdrawal of iodide treatment may be particularly dangerous because it can trigger severe exacerbation of thyrotoxicosis, no? So pag bigla mong hininto, no, abrupt yung withdrawal, you might trigger this complication, no? Okay. In pregnancy also, hindi siya ginagamit because this can induce fetal goiter, no? Now, one use of iodide is in cases of potassium iodide may help protect the thyroid gland uh, from the effects of radiation. No? So this can be administered prior to a perceived radioactive exposure. Like yung mga nangyayaring aksidente sa nuclear power plant, yung mga ganon, no, tipo. They can give potassium iodide to those who are exposed or are going to be exposed. No? Now, this is iodine toxicity. We call it iodism. And if you see on the right, the picture of a man with rashes and severe corneal, severe conjunctivitis. No? They break down into acneiform rash. Nakikita nyo dun sa noon ng picture. The salivary glands are swollen, masakit, no? Parang may mumps. And then you have a lot of ulcerations in your mouth. You have runny nose, fever, metallic taste, bleeding, no? And anaphylaxis-like reaction, allergy-like reaction. And this is the toxicity coming from iodine. And this is very rare, but this is reversible after upon discontinuation of the drug. So they call this state iodism. So radioactive iodine is the use of iodine 131. So this is given for thyrotoxicosis, no, or severe hyperthyroidism. So it's a single capsule, no. It's taken only once, no. One time big time lang tong treatment na to, no. And the idea here is this, no. After you swallow the radioactive iodine pill, no, it is rapidly taken up in the thyroid gland, no? So it's sinostore yan kasi thyroid gland has a great affinity for iodine and iodine-based compounds. So mabilis yan i-take up ng thyroid gland and stored into the follicles. So being radioactive, they emit beta rays that will slowly destroy your thyroid cells, no? So sabi dito, there's an effective half-life of 5 days in which it destroys your thyroid tissue. Kaya single dose, no? Okay. Now, ang advantage niyan, madali ibigay kasi single dose lang, no? It's highly effective because you actually destroy the thyroid gland, no? It's easy and it has no pain, di ka ooperahan, no? In contrast to thyroidectomy. Now, of course, it is not done for pregnancy and for pregnant women or lactating women, no? But of course, the long-term effect is hypothyroidism. So the patient has to be counseled to that he will eventually need levothyroxine therapy or thyroid hormone supplementation later on. No? So this is the long-term effect of RAI. Okay, so what about beta blockers? No, this is used to control especially the cardiac manifestations of thyrotoxicosis. No, so we give beta blockers that do not have intrinsic sympathomimetic activity. No? So these are metoprolol, atenolol, and propranolol. Propranolol is the non-selective. No? So they improve the symptoms, especially of tachycardia and cardiac stimulation without affecting thyroid hormone levels. However, of the three agents, propranolol in high doses is observed to be able to reduce T3 levels because it can inhibit the deiodination of T4 to T3. So nakakatulong din at high doses yung propranolol. But basically, ang utilization of these agents is to help control the cardiac manifestations in thyrotoxicosis. Okay? So these are the manifestations of hyper and hypothyroidism. I'm sure you're quite familiar with them, no? Already. So this involves this is a multisystemic manifestation. So in a lot of systems will show derangement in opposite extremes, no? Now, these are the various pathogenesis of hypothyroidism, no? And the degree of thyroid dysfunction. Now, in hypothyroidism, replacement is often necessary, except if it's drug-induced, in which cases discontinuation of the drug will often reverse the hypofunction. No? The drug of choice is levothyroxine. No? And as we mentioned, the patient is advised to usually take it without food or several hours apart from other drugs, because a lot of drugs and food will hamper its absorption. No? And we compute the dose based on age and the weight. No? So as you can see, children, because they need more thyroid hormones because they are growing and developing, they often require higher doses per kilogram as follows. No? The elderly, especially those who have asthenia or less body mass, no, bawas yung ano nila, weight na nila, may asthenia na sila, no? Lower na yung doses na binibigay natin, no? Because the elderly are less tolerant of the cardiovascular complications, no? And also for post-thyroidectomy in patients with thyroid cancer. Then, because H. pylori gastritis and celiac disease may influence or inhibit optimum absorption of levothyroxine, we usually offset this by giving higher doses. No? Okay, so this is taken on an empty stomach, either 1 hour before or 4 hours after a meal or at bedtime. No? So the optimum TSH range which we target in treatment will be about 0.5 to 2.5 milli-international units per liter. So we start titrating the dose, no, and keep on monitoring the TSH until we reach this range. No? In which case, that will be the maintenance dose for the patient. No? So levothyroxine is usually given once a day. Then to monitor for beneficial effects in pediatric cases, no, we also monitor the growth and development, no? Not just the TSH. For all patients, we also monitor for resolution of symptoms of hypothyroidism. Okay, now we get a baseline prior to the initiation of treatment, baseline free T3 and T4 levels, and baseline TSH. No? Now, it is very important that the dosage changes are made slowly because ang steady state is not reached immediately. It takes about 6 to 8 weeks no, to reach a steady state, no, after each dose. Kaya pag hindi pa steady state, nagbalit ka na ng dose, no, that will give you a false information, no, na adequate na pala yung therapeutic levels mo. Hindi pa pala steady state, no. So dapat 'yon iniintay mo yung 6 to 8 weeks, no, before you think of altering the dose of your patients. Now, for younger patients, no, or those with mild disease, we start the thyroid replacement right away. So again, per kilogram body weight yung computation dyan. For older patients, those over 50, without heart disease, we usually start the dose at 50 micrograms per day. No? For those who have long-standing hypothyroidism or older patients with cardiac morbidities, the starting dose is slower at 12.5 to 10.5 micrograms per day instead of the 50 micrograms per day. And then we use this for 2 weeks, and then we slowly increase 12.5 to 25 micrograms increment every 2 weeks. No? So it has to be slow until you reach euthyroid. No? And this is because, again, we do not want to precipitate any cardiovascular morbidity or complications in these patients who are already vulnerable to these effects. No? So the toxicity will be an extension of its pharmacologic effect. No? So it's related to excesses in hormonal levels. No? So these are the manifestations, and they will resemble situations of hyperthyroidism. No? So baka nag-hyperthyroid ka na, nagma-manifestation ka na ng hyperthyroidism kasi sumosobra yung replacement mo. No? And importantly, chronic overtreatment in the elderly may increase the risk of atrial fibrillation and other arrhythmias, as well as accelerate bone loss. No? So while on treatment, it's very important to always periodically monitor TSH and the free T4 levels. Now, what about myxedema and coronary artery disease? Often, this come hand in hand. No? Myxedema is severe hypothyroidism, and this coronary artery disease is a common comorbidity. No? Now, if there's also coronary artery disease, then all the more we have to be very careful in treating with thyroid hormone replacement. No? Kasi the most feared nga, as we mentioned, will be the consequence of cardiac activation or cardiac stimulation. No? So we might precipitate an angina or a myocardial infarction while treating with thyroid hormones, especially kung meron na silang coronary artery disease. No? So if indicated, no, we usually advise to have coronary artery surgery first, either a bypass or angioplasty, no, before giving the treatment with levothyroxine, if possible. No? Myxedema coma is a state of medical emergency. So everything slows down, even respiration, heartbeat. No? Sobrang bradycardia yan. So parang nagsha-shut off yung makinarya mo. No? So this is a medical emergency handled under intensive care unit. No? So we have to be ready for the possibility of intubation and mechanical ventilation pag talagang mababa na yung respiratory rate niyan. No? And we have to treat all the underlying comorbidities. No? Kung may infection yan, UTI, or meron, ang tawag nito, cardiac problem, no? Hyperglycemia, all of these things have to be treated. No? And because of the compromised activity of the gastrointestinal tract, our replacement is given by parenteral route. No? So ito yung myxedema coma. This is severe hypothyroidism. No? Okay. Now, in pregnancy, we need to ensure that the hypothyroid pregnant woman receives adequate hormonal replacement, because this is also very important for the development of the child, especially of the brain. No? So usually the requirements are increased by as much as 30%. No? So this is like one extra dose twice a day, no? Separated by days. No? So the extra dose, kasi if it's usually once a week, pag buntis yan, dinodoble, no? So twice a week, kung galing siya sa once a week. No? But the interval should be separated by a few days para hindi masyadong mataas yung risk ng cardiac activation. No? Now, for the pregnant woman, again, because levothyroxine is affected or the absorption is slowed by calcium, it's slowed by iron. These are contents of your prenatal multivitamins, no? This has to be taken separately, and there should be a 4-hour interval, no? Between the hormone, the thyroid hormone or levothyroxine, and the prenatal vitamins, no? Now, for subclinical hypothyroidism, these are essentially asymptomatic individuals, and their thyroid hormones are in the normal range, but you will observe an elevated TSH. So ibig sabihin, nagko-compensate pa yung thyroid gland, no? So this is more common in women over 50 years old, no? So the treatment is individualized. It depends on whether symptoms are present or absent, but current recommendations will also strongly suggest that if the TSH already is beyond 10 milli-international units per liter, then it might be prudent to begin levothyroxine replacement and to closely monitor TSH. No? Okay. What about the other extreme? So usually it's Graves' disease. No? So we can give antithyroid therapy or radioactive iodine or thyroidectomy surgery. No? Now, antithyroid therapy is preferred in young individuals with mild disease and small glands. No? And it is given usually in a period of 1 to 1.5 years of treatment with your thioamides, no? Will often lead to spontaneous remission of the disease. No? Now, however, you have an increased percentage or likelihood of relapse, about 50 to 60%. No? Now, between PTU and methimazole, methimazole is the preferred drug of choice because of the risk of severe hepatitis with PTU. No? Patients with thioamides have to be counseled to seek immediate medical consult if they develop sore throat or high-grade fever, because these are potential signs of agranulocytosis, no? In which case you have to discontinue the medication. Okay. Now, for surgery is advised for very large glands or multinodular goiter. And before that, we give antithyroid medications about 6 weeks before, and then place the patient on potassium iodide 2 weeks before surgery to decrease the vascularity and size of the gland. No? And most of these patients will have to have levothyroxine supplementation later on. For radioactive iodine, this is the intervention of choice for patients over 21 years old. No? So we give the methimazole first until for elderly patients. No? Binibigyan muna natin ng methimazole until euthyroid, no? And those with heart disease. And then this is discontinued 3 to 4 days before the radioactive iodine. And this is restarted 3 to 5 days after. And then this is slowly tapered over 4 to 6 weeks. Kasi pag nag-RAI ka, as the gland gets destroyed, no, there's also release of thyroid hormones into the general circulation. Kasi nasisira nagdalize yung thyroid cells mo, so nagre-release ng thyroid hormones, and this can induce hyperthyroid symptoms. Kaya pag elderly, nagbibigay tayo ng suppressive treatment muna, no, to offset that potential effect from thyroid hormone release as the cells undergo the effects of radiation. Then in 6 to 12 weeks, you usually have a considerable reduction in the size of the thyroid gland, and state of euthyroid is usually achieved. No? But as I mentioned, an unavoidable complication is of course hypothyroidism. So these individuals will eventually need lifetime levothyroxine hormonal replacement. Okay. So I think that's the last of my slide, and thank you very much for your kind attention.